Hello everyone, welcome to the Peanut Gallery. I'm your host Jessa, and I'm fascinated by analyzing mood, personality, and general mental disorders with comic book and movie characters. You'll find all those strange thoughts shared right here. Note, I am not a licensed psychologist nor am I trained. This is for entertainment purposes only, and to satisfy my hypomanic moods to talk. Again, I'm probably going to reiterate this throughout all the episodes. I am not a licensed nor trained psychologist. This is for entertainment purposes only, so I do hope you enjoy the episodes. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 5 of the Peanut Gallery. Today I've chosen to talk about Wade Wilson, but we all know him as Captain Deadpool. Oh wait, no, it's just Deadpool. Sorry about that. We actually first meet Wade as a strange kind of mercenary because he only takes $1 for payment as he deals with someone's problematic ex-boyfriend. This sets up Wade as a stand-up guy, a good fellow. Just he's a little messed up in the head on account of his regenerative ability. But so what we're gonna actually do? That's not actually the first time we met Wade. We actually met Wade in Wolverine Origins, where he was cast as kind of a different character than what we saw in Deadpool. Now, I'm just gonna kind of leave that one out of here. I'm just gonna talk about Deadpool. Now, Deadpool is the essence of Wade Wilson. He's known by many names, many aliases, but we all know him as the Merc with the mouth. He doesn't stop talking. He's very talkative. He's very annoying, but he's also somebody that I would rather have on my side than against me. He's complicated and simple at the same time. So this is going to be extremely fun for me because, as I said earlier in other previous ones, is that Bucky Barnes is my personal favorite character, and then second is Frank Castle. And Loki's a close third, but all in all, Deadpool is always going to be on my favorites list because he's just awesome. He's just an awesome character. Just all around awesomeness. He has really awesome abilities, and there's not much to expect from him because he's unexpected. He does the unexpected things. Now, like I said, I'm going to specifically talk about film Deadpool, and the reason why I chose Wade Wilson this time around is because I saw a trailer for Deadpool 2, or I haven't seen it yet, but I have actually seen adverts for the trailer for Deadpool 2, so that's why I chose him. And it keeps away any spoilers from Infinity War because I did see it and I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, so I'm probably going to try to avoid any of the other characters involved in Infinity War, at least until about 6 weeks go by, and then I'll continue. So until then, we get to figuratively pull names out of a hat, and Wade Wilson was my first choice. I don't know why. It's just fun. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with Wade's mind works differently than everyone else's. He's actually quite complicated to take apart and analyze. He is a psychologist's worst nightmare. Worse than Bucky Barnes, worse than Logan, worse than anyone who has any other disorders, because he's so... Wade Wilson is just, he's Wade, he's Deadpool. That's it. He's just Deadpool, so he is an impossibly simplistic but complicated character. And there's a lot that goes on with him, but as far as what I can see, it's gonna be interesting. So he has a regenerative ability, and unlike Logan, it didn't affect Logan. It didn't affect his mind. Now, Wade's regenerative ability affects his mind massively, and this is kind of the main reason why he acts the way he does. His latent abilities were actually brought to light when he was trying to get cured of this terminal cancer. Now, because of the way it was forcefully brought out, it disfigured him, and it caused his regenerative ability to kind of really mess with his mind a lot. Now, that's not to say he wasn't a little a little off the wall to begin with. He was, but he was a very stand-up guy. He's a good fellow. He still is a stand-up guy and a good fellow. And but his regenerative ability, because it heals him when he loses an arm or a limb, as we saw in Deadpool, he just kind of grew back his baby hand. That freaked me out. But that, because of his regenerative ability, it's not like Logan's. It's completely different. Didn't happen naturally. It was forced out of him. Because of that, it really messes with his mind a lot. So that's kind of the basis of what I'm doing here. It's that I'm basing it on that regenerative ability. And it, like I said before many times, it really messes with his mind. And that's the basic reason why Wade is Wade. So I'm going to go on, I'm going to try to include a personality type for what I see for each character. If I don't have enough information about them, I'm not going to be able to include it, because I'm still learning as I go too. But from what I've seen, and from what I've basically studied about Wade, is that he strikes me as a definite ENFP, which is an extroverted intuition feeling perception. Now this is a bit different than an INFP because they're extroverted rather than introverted, and this makes a world of a difference. Now, he's extroverted. We can all tell he's an extroverted person. He speaks his mind. He doesn't care. He has no filter. So he's a very extroverted personality. He would rather, his intuition serves him very well as being an extroverted person, because his intuition's never wrong, and if it is wrong, he just kind of goes off and says, oh, well, I broke my wrist, that's okay, I'm just going to snap it back into place, it's going to heal, I'm going to move on my way. Or in the case of Deadpool, he cut off his own hand to get away out of a pair of handcuffs, and then subsequently regrew that lost hand with a little hand, the little baby soft hand. Wade, you're so weird. We love you anyway. Now, so his intuition always serves him well. It's not unlike him to actually go off of that. He doesn't have a plan. He's not a taskmaster. He just goes with the flow. Whatever happens, he uses it to his advantage. Now this goes hand in hand with intuition and feeling. Now, as far as feeling goes, he can come off as very abrasive, very, I guess abrasive is the only word I can find at the moment, because I have a lot of thoughts going through my head right now. But Wade can feel other people's emotions around him, like he can sort of sympathize with others, maybe empathize with others, but he just doesn't care. He doesn't care if you're feeling down or upset. He's gonna do what he wants to do. He's gonna say what he wants to do. He's the merc with the mouth, and he doesn't know how to shut up. So he's gonna say what's on his mind. If it hurts your feelings, too bad. You're gonna have to deal with it. This is Wade Wilson. This is Deadpool. He carries around 2 katanas openly and slices his own limbs off to get away from people. So his filter, if he doesn't care about himself, he's not going to care about you. Even if he feels that he can care about you and possibly sympathize or empathize, it's not going to matter. He has no filter on his mouth. He's going to say what he wants. He's going to do what he wants. He's going to go with his intuition, and he's going to go with whatever feelings he has inside of him to go ahead and do what he thinks is right and what he thinks is good for him, and maybe some other people that he cares about, like his girlfriend. Now that leads us to perception. Perception is what causes him to act on his feelings, whereas the other 16 types have a J at the end, which is judgmental. That's more of a logic side. That's more of a much more logical side. That's where they look at a situation and they think logically to try to find the best solution for it. Now, perception goes hand in hand with feeling and intuition. This is completely different. You go off on your feelings, which means you see a situation, you don't think about it, you act on it. And because of this, combined with his extroverted, unfiltered nature, that makes him a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Unexpected enemy. So if you're going to fight him, you can't expect him. You have to expect the unexpected with Deadpool. That includes not just in combat and battle, but also as a person when you interact with him. If you come up to Deadpool, you better expect to be insulted in one way or another, maybe even multiple ways. He's going to joke around with you. He's going to make jokes and stabs and jabs in any way possible and make you feel uncomfortable, pissed off, angry, and upset with him. That's just how he is. That's his personality. He doesn't care. He goes off of how he's feeling in that moment, and because of that, that makes him the merc with a mouth. That's the basis. Combined with his regenerative ability that really messes with his brain, yeah, we got ourselves a very interesting person that, like I said earlier, I would much rather have on my side than on the enemy's side. Now that leads us to his disorders. The disorders are, well, there's 3 of them. One of which I can associate with personally, so this is gonna be more fun for me too. So we can see that he does have some sort of psychosis. It's not, and he's also a sadist. He's like Loki. They would make such good friends, they really would. Although I don't think Loki would be able to put up with his unfiltered behavior for very long. He can't put up with his brother Thor for too long, so I doubt that he'd be able to put up with Wade for very long. But so he's sadistic in the event that he loves to inflict pain upon other people, whether it's physical or emotional. He doesn't care. It makes him happy. And that makes him a bit psychotic. He has every intention to make your life a living hell. He has every intention to do as much as he possibly can to make you annoyed. That's his job. He does an excellent job. He does an excellent job of being a psychotic sadist. Now, as I said before, it's all because of his regenerative ability. And this is going to be repeated a lot, probably. It's already been repeated in the last 10 minutes so many times. But because of his psychosis, this gives him the advantage in battle because he's unpredictable. So a lot of people out there who fight in battles, who combat him, they're expecting him to go a certain way. They're expecting him to do a certain move. They're expecting these things of him, and he does the complete opposite. He surprises you. So even if you can read minds, it's not going to help you because you can't predict him. He's so unpredictable. So that leads us to schizoaffective disorder. Now this is interesting because it's basically you have signs of schizophrenia, but you don't have enough signs to be diagnosed with it. So it's kind of more of a schizoaffective disorder, and this goes hand in hand with the next one, auditory hallucinations. Now, auditory hallucinations is what I personally have experience with, and schizoaffective disorder is not. But what schizoaffective disorder does with Wade is that all these 2 things, schizoaffective disorder and auditory hallucinations, all of these culminate into breaking the 4th wall. Now, when he breaks the 4th wall, he is talking to the audience, he is talking to other people, but he's not talking to anybody in particular. He's talking to himself and people he thinks are there. Now, like schizophrenics, they have visual hallucinations, they have auditory hallucinations, they have delusions. That's exactly Wade Wilson. Now, Wade will possibly see something and hear something that's not there. But instead of acting paranoid or afraid of it, he acts on it, and therefore he turns around and immediately talks to this, whatever it is that he sees or hears. He responds to it as if there's someone there. This breaks the 4th wall. And as I said before, it's amazing as a character that he's like this, because he consistently breaks the 4th wall. He consistently hears things and sees things and inflicts pain upon others and gets pure pleasure out of it. And it's just so funny that he's this character, because if you had met him, if you do meet him, Wade will probably be that type of guy that you're gonna get seriously pissed off at, but then 2 seconds later he's gonna have you laughing at something that he did that was stupid. So he kind of self-deprecates himself with humor, but it doesn't bother him. That's the thing, he doesn't get bothered by any of these things. He hears things, it doesn't bother him. He sees things, he doesn't care. He literally talks to these delusions and hallucinations, and he doesn't care if anybody hears him. He doesn't care if he's talking and somebody comes up and says, "Who are you talking to?" There's no one there. Doesn't care. It's Deadpool. This is Wade Wilson we're talking about. He doesn't give a flying rat's butt about anything that anybody thinks of him, and never will. That's what makes him so interesting. That's what makes him so fascinating. And I really wish I could analyze him more, but I need to see the second movie to actually pick him apart some more. And as I said before, he's an empathetic. Like, the whole reason he went through all that was because he loved his girlfriend and he wanted to be with her, and he didn't want to leave her like that, so he found an alternative. went through this. He went through this hell to go through to try to get cured, which inadvertently accessed and awakened his mutant abilities. And now he's stuck in this kind of psychotic mindset where he can't really get out of himself. It's just that he just acts on his impulses. He's a very impulsive person. And because he's impulsive, you can't really expect him to be somewhere when you want him to be there. You can't expect him to not be on your side completely in a battle, because he strikes me as the type of person that will do friendly fire on purpose just to get a laugh. He seems like the type of person that will shoot you in the butt just to laugh about it later, and then tell that story, and then be proud of the fact that he was the one that shot you in the butt in the first place. No, I know this is kind of getting off topic, but he's such a fun character. He's such a fun guy. And when we're going to go back to the auditory hallucinations, and what's interesting is auditory hallucinations is basically hearing things that aren't there. A lot of times, the majority of times that people have auditory hallucinations, it's usually like the sound of a bouncing ball, or piano playing, or violins, or strings, or something like that. But in the case of Deadpool, and the case of myself personally, it's voices. With Deadpool, it's a lot of voices. I would imagine that he just randomly hears something and responds to it. So, but for the most part, auditory hallucinations are what keeps him on edge, actually, because he doesn't expect anything. And maybe sometimes these hallucinations that he hears, maybe they help him. Maybe that's why he's so unpredictable. Maybe that's why he says the things he says, because it's not actually him. Maybe it's these things he's hearing. And that goes hand in hand with schizoaffective disorder, because he also sees things. That's why he turns and looks and breaks the fourth wall all the time. So if he was an actual person, he would most likely be turning to his side and talking to someone who's not there, having a whole conversation with someone who's not there. And that would probably freak a lot of people out. And it does in real life. It really does freak a lot of people out. It makes a lot of people concerned. And the whole point of this is to help others understand that these things are real. Like, schizoaffective disorder is a real thing. Auditory hallucinations are a real thing. And as a person who has auditory hallucinations, I can guarantee you they're not all fun and games. I don't hear piano music. I don't hear violin strings, which would be a lot less hectic for me. But as someone who can relate to Deadpool about having auditory hallucinations, who can hear voices, it's not all hallucinations are bad. Not all auditory hallucinations are going out there to tell you and do self-harm or do something awful. A lot of times it's just that you hear your name being called in an empty room, and there's no one there but you. And a lot of times it sounds like it's coming from a different room. So you go and investigate, there's no one there. Or you hear a sound like a door shutting or something clanking, you go and investigate, none of that actually happened. That will freak a lot of people out. But for those of us who live with this on a daily basis, you kind of tune them out, you ignore them, and they suddenly don't seem as problematic anymore. But if you were to tell someone about them, the other person will look at you funny. Been there, done that, personal experience. So the fact that Deadpool just openly admits that, hey, look, I'm talking to someone who's not here. I don't care. I don't care what you think, and I don't care what I think. This is what it is. This is who I am. Now, for him, that's really awesome as a character, but as a person, that's not so good. He actually does need a lot of help. But so as a character, he's fascinating. As a character, he's psychotic, he's sadistic, he has schizoaffective disorder. He hears things that aren't there, he sees things that aren't there on a daily basis. And that's why he breaks the fourth wall. This is my theory on how he and why he breaks the fourth wall. Now, in the comic books, I know that there's two different voices. I read up on this a little bit, but there's actually two different voices in his head. One is supposed to be his therapist, and one is some evil entity. I don't know about that. It's possible. So in the event, he's actually hearing things. He's actually hearing these people, which makes him more in tune to maybe the astral plane. But that's a different story. I would really like to see Wade Wilson and Doctor Strange go at it. That would be fun. That would be hilarious. I would love to see it, and I would really love to see him in the Avengers. Because I know in the comic book he does join the Avengers for a short while, and this actually goes off a little bit off topic, but that would be hilarious. I would love to see that. But as a character before, as I said before, Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, he's a fun character, and I wish I could analyze more of him, but it's not easy to analyze him in Deadpool because, like I said before, he's all over the place. What I'm hoping to do is I will come back to him as soon as I see Deadpool 2. I will come back to him and I will do him, and I'll be able to reanalyze him to get a little bit more information, because in Deadpool 2 he actually goes off on a limb to save someone and protect them. And I said before, that makes him a good person. He went through all this trouble so that he could get past his terminal cancer to be with his girlfriend, and then she gets taken. So he goes on this giant adventure with 2 new friends, maybe acquaintances. I think they make another appearance in Deadpool 2. So he goes on this quest to get her back, despite what he looks like, despite that he disappeared forever. He still loves her, and he wants to be with her. And that's what makes him so wonderful. That's what makes him human, is that he has all these flaws. He's psychotic, he's sadistic, he's schizoaffective, he has auditory hallucinations, visual hallucinations, to the point where he breaks the fourth wall and talks to people that are not there. Despite all that, he still has it in him to love and care about a certain person, and that makes him human. He's still human. He's still Wade Wilson. He's still that guy that his girlfriend fell in love with. That's what makes him fascinating. And despite what he looks like, she doesn't care. She didn't love him for his looks. She loved him for who he was, because he made her laugh, he made her feel loved and welcomed. And they were 2 peas in a pod. That's the important part. That Wade never disappeared. He might have gotten some extra superpowers. He might have gotten his psychosis and sadist part of him might have gotten more amplified because of what happened to him. But as a person, Wade Wilson is still Wade Wilson. He's still that person that we laughed at and thought was funny, and thought it was cute that he only took $1 from someone in the beginning of the movie to go deal with her problematic boyfriend. That shows he's a good person. He values life over money, and that is really fascinating for someone like Wade Wilson. And a lot of people probably don't see that in him. They probably just see him as the merc with the mouth. Oh, he's cool, he can regenerate limbs, he has an unfiltered vocabulary that's quite colorful, more colorful than people who swear like sailors. And that's all good fun, but deep down, past all those layers that people see on the surface, Wade Wilson cares about other people. He values life over money, even though he is the merc with the mouth, even though he probably does take a lot of money from other people. But there is a point in one of the comic books where they said that all he cares about is money. I forgot who said it, but someone said all he cares about is money, and then another person pointed out that he didn't cash one check. So if Deadpool goes on all these missions and charges all this money, he never cashes that. And that right there, that bit right there, tells you Wade Wilson values life over money. And that makes him a good person. Despite his unfiltered mouth, despite his sadist, psychotic episodes, and his schizoaffective moments, which happen about 99% of the time, he is a good person who values life over money. And that in and of itself should grant him access to be an Avenger. Besides, he can't die. So that makes him the best person to send on suicide missions, perhaps? Can you imagine how many Hydra bases he'd be able to take out? It would be phenomenal. But he's untrustworthy, he's unpredictable, he's all over the place. And that's what scares people the most about him. That's what keeps him from being on a team. That's what keeps him from being a good person and wanting to do good. He probably doesn't understand this, and if he does, he just doesn't care. But the fact that because he's unstable, he's unpredictable, he's untrustworthy, that makes other people see that he's not such a good guy to have on your team. But at the end of the day, As I said before, he values life over money, and he is someone I'd rather have on my side, on my team, than against me. Because he can regenerate, he can heal himself, he can grow back his lost hand, and he doesn't really care about pain. So, in the end, would you rather have someone who doesn't trust him, or would you rather have him on your side? I think I'll go with him on my side at the end of the day. No matter what anyone says, I'll take Deadpool first and foremost on my team. And then I'll take Bucky Barnes. And then I'll take Loki. And then Frank Castle. So on my side, I think I'll take all the tortured souls who have a variety of mental disorders. But again, like I said, I have a thing for them. I do believe that Wade Wilson is a good person, will always be a good person, and I'm actually very excited to see Deadpool 2. I haven't had so much fun watching a movie as I did when I saw Deadpool. And I must have watched it at least 5 times in a row, and I can't remember any of it. But Wade Wilson is a wonderful person. He values life over money, as I said many times before. And that makes all the difference. Despite his psychotic side, despite his sadist side, despite his auditory and visual hallucinations and delusions of grandeur, he's a good person. Always was, always has, always will be a good person and has a good heart. I think he deserves a chance on the Avengers. I think he deserves a chance to try to do good, and his girlfriend sees that. That's why she lets him do all the crazy things he does, and he just comes and goes in his red suit. I wonder if Melvin from Daredevil actually made that suit for him. That's something worth considering. Well, I guess that's about all I have to say about our Merc with the Mouth. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I'm really upset that I couldn't have been able to stay more on topic about it, but he's really all over the place, and that in turn makes me all over the place. But I really had a good time analyzing him, and I'm gonna revisit him again when Deadpool 2 comes out, because it's gonna be way more fun. I might even go back and watch him back to back if I can. I'll try to watch Deadpool and then go and see Deadpool 2, but we'll see. We'll see how time management goes for me. But all in all, Wade Wilson, also known as Deadpool or Captain Deadpool, he's a good person with a good heart. And I am very, very excited to see him in another movie. And I want to see more of him, so fingers crossed that he does end up in the Avengers. That's going to be really fun. It's going to be great, and I think him and more interactions will be more fun too. I really hope to see him in the future. So again, thank you so much for listening, and I really hope you enjoyed the podcast. I want to state for the record that I am not a licensed psychologist, nor am I claiming to be one. I'm just fascinated by mood, personality, and mental disorders of the world. They're not openly discussed, but as a society, we are getting there. And I really do enjoy comic book and movie characters. So instead of sitting at home and analyzing these ladies and gents myself and racking my brain over this, I thought I'd share it with the world. Let me know if I've done an okay job, a good job, or a horrible job at this, because this is all new for me. And don't forget to share this podcast if you liked it. Again, thank you for listening to my ramblings, and tune in next time.